Today I'm going to present both the results of the needs analysis and the survey of interests that were carried out in 6th grade students from Institución Educativa La Ribera in Montería. So before talking about each of the skills, let's talk about the general results of the test. Out of the 22 students, 38% were at a basic level, 23% of them were high, another 23% of them were low, and only 18% reached superior. This means that most of the students in the classroom have a basic level of English and only a few are able to reach higher levels. Because of this, I think the school should give more support to all of the students so all of them can start reaching higher levels. The exam was divided into 4 sections: listening, reading, writing, and monologue, and each of these sections had 5 questions. So I'm going to be explaining to you each skill, showing you the highest and the lowest percentage and why that happened. So in the listening section, 63% of the students were able to score 4 questions out of 5 correctly, and 14% were able to score 5 out of 5. The reason why they did so well, I think it's because they are really comfortable working with this skill, and also they were able to manage themselves and stay still for as long as the audio was playing, and it really reflected on the results of this part of the exam. So for the reading section, 55% of the students were able to answer all 5 questions correctly, and 4% of them, which is the lowest percentage, were able to answer only 2 questions correctly. In this part of the exam, they also did really well, and I think it's because both of the tests that they were tested on were really easy for them to understand and to find information from, because they were about Montería and Cartagena, to cities that they probably know or that they have visited before in the past. So in the writing section, the students did pretty well as well. The highest percentage is that of the students that were able to answer 5 questions out of 5 correctly, and it is 32%. And the lowest percentage is 4%, and it is that of the students that weren't able to answer to any questions correctly. I think one of the main reasons why they were able to answer to all of the questions, or that they did so well in this one, is because the example was really clear in what they had to do, and since they work with a lot of personal information in the classroom, it was easy for them to understand and to answer the questions. The last section, and the worst performance-wise, is monologue. In this one, 27% of the students were able to answer 4 questions out of 5, and 14%, which is the lowest, weren't able to answer any questions correctly. I think this it's because since it was a conversation pattern, they had to really understand what the specific words of the conversation were, and since they didn't know, it was difficult for them to understand and to answer the questions. In this part, I remember that a lot of students were asking all the time for specific details that were crucial for them to understand how to answer the question. And since most of them didn't know how to do it, this section was the worst performance-wise. This survey was created so we could understand what students like and prefer when learning English, and it helped us discover 1, which types of content motivate them the most, 2, how they like to practice, for example, with games or videos, and 3, what topics they want to learn about in class. This information is really useful and important for teachers, since it helps them create lessons that are really engaging, fun, modern, and are actually related to the students' interests. Now let's look at the main results from the survey. For videos, the highest, 44%, chose short videos on TikTok or Instagram, and the lowest, 8%, chose music videos. Students prefer short and fun content they can watch quickly. So for pronunciation, 57% of them like apps or games to learn, and 4% of them like recording audios. So what this tells us is that they like using technology to learn. For vocabulary, 75% of them like using apps like Duolingo, and only 8% of them like using flashcards. They prefer digital tools instead of traditional methods. For reading, 54% like some lyrics and 13% like comics. So, music somehow motivates students to read in English. In music preference, 40% chose pop or K-pop and 8% chose movie or video game music. This shows their connection with global trends. For speaking activities, 44% prefer answering to the teacher, and 16% like talking with a partner. They feel more comfortable with teacher guidance. For writing, 42% like short phrases about their lives, and 4% like stories. They enjoy simple and personal writing tasks. For games, 45% chose mobile phone games and 12% chose guessing games. Again, they prefer learning with technology. For topics, 32% want to talk about hobbies and sports, and 16% about family and friends. They prefer fun and personal topics. And for the last question in the whole survey, that is about how much time they would like to spend on learning English apart from the time that they spend in the classroom, 57% of them said that they would spend 30 minutes or less outside of class, and 9% said more than 2 hours. So most students only practice English in the class. So I think it's really clear that the test gave us a good understanding on how strong the students are in listening, reading, and writing, but they are missing some improvement in monologue. And also, the survey gave us some information on how they like to learn English, apps, short videos, technology in general. So I think the school should start helping students by improving some of the methods in which they teach students how to speak, and also they should start using more technology in the classroom so the students are more engaged and motivated to learn English, and maybe like this in the future they will answer that they will give more of their free time to learn English at home, not just 30 minutes or less. So that's all. Thank you for listening.